Welcome to Strangeville. Welcome to the channel. My name is Kevin Strange, 20-year veteran of the underground, cartoonist, novelist, independent filmmaker. I am here today to share my love of comic books with you. Today we're looking at Doug Tennapel's only adult comic book, Black Cherry. But first, it is October. It is Monster Month, and I am releasing my brand new horror comedy splatterpunk, gore-filled, sex-filled, underground outlaw 28-page full-color comic book, Count Kefula, aka Dracula, in Strangeville. It is available now. If you click the link in the description to the Patreon for only $3 a month, you get access to all of my comics, all of my novels, and all of my films, including the brand new 28-page one-shot Count Kefula, aka Dracula in Strangeville. Dracula breezes in to the peaceful town of Strangeville, picks him up some ne'er-do-well females, turns them into his harem of brides, of vampire brides, and sends them out to collect the finest weed in Strangeville, which of course is Nixon and Hogan's Colombian smoke weed. Hilarity and bloodshed and fornication ensues in Kevin Strange's Count Kefula. I am doing a small print run. We're doing a pre-order. Link in the description. $12 gets you the comic book plus the 11 by 17 poster that you see here displayed. This is going to be a limited time pre-order through the month of October. As Halloween hits, October 31st is the cutoff, and then I will order the books, and then they will be shipped out to you sometime in November. Also, consider becoming a member of the channel for only $2.99 a month. You get access to all of our future videos that have already been recorded and banked in the members only section weeks, sometimes months in advance. There's videos up there now in through October. There's already November videos ready, locked and loaded and ready to go that you get access to with that membership. All memberships and the Patreon and buying my books, all that. All the proceeds from those things goes towards making the channel bigger and better. I'm now recording with Streamlabs OBS. We've upgraded a little bit, maybe. This is my first video. This is actually my third attempt to record Black Cherry. This video is cursed for some reason. I keep getting interrupted and weirdness keeps ensuing. I've been trying to do this review for a freaking week, but anyway, all those proceeds go to better mics, better cameras, better laptops to present you with the best possible videos that we can here at the channel. I'm committed to making this a daily comic book review channel. In honor of the late, great Ed Piskor, who's no longer with us thanks to the psychos in the entertainment industry. We've lost Ed Piskor. Now you're stuck with me. We are on the march to 1,000 subscribers. We're almost there, less than 200 to go. When we hit that coveted 1,000 subscriber mark, I am going to put my big 164-page full-color tome, Kevin Strange's Space Worms, up for free on the Patreon. So if you are a channel subscriber, when we hit 1,000, you can go to the Patreon and download a beautiful PDF of Space Worms for free. If you are a patron, you get access to Too Many Dabs, Death to Strangeville, Wizard of Ganj, all of my comics, novels, and feature films. We are here, however, today to talk about one of the coolest Doug Tennapel books in his bibliography, Black Cherry. Black Cherry is it's quite a book. Why are we doing this book in October? Why are we doing another Doug Tennapel book? Well, we're doing another Doug Tennapel book. You've seen me do several of these videos covering Doug's books already, and that's because nobody in the comics industry has the balls to cover Doug TenNapel's books. Doug TenNapel is pretty much universally blackballed, blackmailed, blacklisted by the left and blacklisted by the right. So you're not going to see like big comic review channels like Comics Tropes. That dude will never touch a Doug TenNapel book, and I think for my money, and on the right, you're never going to see Comicsgate cover Doug TenNapel stuff. They hate him too, and so this is apparently the home for the reviews of Doug TenNapel books in the comic book review sphere. Why are we doing it in October? Well, this Black Cherry is a detective noir, not really a detective noir, but it's a noir, black and white, awesome black and white noir story about gangsters and aliens and demons and Catholic priests and bare-butted strippers. It is quite the romp and totally appropriate for Monster Month, because there's a lot of cool monsters and aliens and gangster shit in Black Cherry. This is, I believe, I don't know this for certain, but I believe that this is Doug's send up to Frank Miller's Sin City. This is Doug channeling Frank Miller, channeling Marv, channeling all those crazy characters from the Sin City universe into his own, channeling it into his own TenNapelverse, which of course includes, lots of ruminations on God and heaven and religion, and it's just look at the way, I mean, he just slops the freaking ink onto these pages. But we're gonna read Doug's explanation for why he chose to do an adult book with naked girls and foul language and gore and the kind of stuff that Doug usually tends to shy away from. Let's get in here and see, in Doug's own words, why he chose to do this. He says, Author's Forward. Some of you might be a little confused about my decision to tell this story. My Christian readers will be puzzled about my choice of words and images. My anti-Catholic secularist readership might wonder why I'm telling yet another story of faith. The answer to the Christian is easy. My characters tell the truth. I don't like moral stories where the characters live spotless lives. I should say that I don't believe them. Criminals don't talk like they are trying to keep from offending soccer moms. They use the F word a lot. When I tell stories about the criminal underbelly of LA, I want to make rich characters who have the freedom to be as skanky and as bad as they need to be, not because it's good, but because it's true. I have a similar explanation for the anti-religious zealots. Stories just don't ring true to me when religion is deliberately edited out of our everyday lives. When Americans are surveyed, we consistently, overwhelmingly identify ourselves as Christian. I mean, over 80% are self-proclaimed Christians, and over 90% believe in God. As I peruse the great stories of the past, from Chaucer to Dickens, from Pulp Fiction to Raiders of the Lost Ark, we have a rich history of theology mixed into our fiction. Modern stories have made sweeping efforts to hide or show embarrassment regarding our religious identity. I refuse to bow to this pressure for the same reason I don't remove the F word from my dialogue. Because my job is to tell the truth. Mobsters, strippers, gangbangers, and priests have deep theological thoughts about their religious experience, and so do my characters. Enough of this chit-chat. Let's get on with the story. Doug TenNapel, April 2nd, 2007 is when he penned this tome, this fantastic adult work from comics master Doug TenNapel. Unsung hero, most slept on, I believe most slept on professional in the comics industry. Here we start off with Black Cherry here. Beautiful, Doug's beautiful, weird rendering of women. His characters are often chinless, but our main character Eddie he's overcompensated with a giant chiseled freaking Easter Island head on our guy here with a little, whatever you call that, hairstyle, little Elvis hairstyle going there. But let's get into the well. We're going to get into the book a little bit, and then I'm going to talk about Doug's art style here, especially. Well, I wouldn't even say especially in Black Cherry, because a lot of his early work in comics was really sloppy, which is not an insult. I love the energy that he puts into just dragging his brush all around the pages. And in his later years, his later books, he's gotten a little more neat with his brushes, and that's not necessarily a good or bad thing either, because his modern books are also almost all in color, and I think that the sloppy brush style works best in black and white. So let's get into Black Cherry. Her name was Black Cherry. She swung about a chrome cylinder every so often at Copper's Topless Bar in North Hollywood. She was a platinum blonde, and I mean all blonde. But I didn't fall in love with this bird because of her hair. Yeah, I fell in love with a stripper, and I guess no man would give a strange twist his hard-earned greenage unless he fell in love a little. Besides, I'm damaged goods. If you put damaged goods with a decent woman, you get the perfect recipe for a divorce. Or worse, longevity. And this is Eddie right here watching Black Cherry strip. I could tell she hated a job even though she was giving it hell while grinding my lap for 20. So this is Doug's patented silhouetting that he does here. Cherry's giving Eddie a lap dance here in silhouette. Beautiful Doug Tennapel silhouettes, which again I think he probably does 20, 30, 40 silhouettes all throughout one of his books, and I think that they always I think they work the best in his black and white stuff. I think they're the most powerful. His silhouetting is most powerful when it's done as spotted blacks, stark black on white backgrounds in his books. But anyway, I could tell she hated a job even though she was giving it hell while grinding my lap for 20s. She wished all of her clients died and went to hell just like I do. This chick wasn't just some dumbass whore taking her clothes off for the comb-over set. She looked mean enough to be my bride, and I was going to tell her as much the very next weekend. Let this be a good lesson to procrastinators, because she quit and disappeared before I could give her the ring I stole. There's Eddie staring forlorn at the ring he was going to use to propose to Black Cherry, his stripper friend. We've all been there. I think we've all, if you're a man's man, if you've lived a man's life, you've been to a strip club a time or two, especially when you're young, and one of those broads just catches your eye and you just want to keep on dropping 20s. Anyhow, so the story goes, Eddie is he's like a low end, I wouldn't even say he's a mobster. He's like a gopher for the mob. He does errands for the mob, and he very quickly here he's just in bed with some floozy. He tiptoes over and steals money out of her drawer. She catches and sneaks out of the house. He catches her. She catches him doing it. Starts trying to shoot at him. Her husband shows up. It's a mess. He ends up knocking out the husband. I love the shot Eddie takes to the grill here. I love these like crazy frenetic brush strokes by Doug here, and Doug uses that patented Winsor Newton Series 7 brush. I can't get my brightness to come back up on my got some work to do. Still working out some bugs in this thing. Oh, I know why it's doing that. Because my power's running out. I need my power source, gang. I need to plug my power source back in. Sorry for the interruption. I gotta plug my power source in. There. Now we're good to go. All right. He uses that Winsor Newton Series 7 number 2, which is the same brush that Bill Watterson uses on Calvin and Hobbes, and many other very talented cartoonists use to do brush inking in their comic books. And Doug just he just slings it around. I love it. And let's get back to where we were here. Yeah, we were looking at this this punch that he takes, and how Doug just drags the dry brush across that panel there to show movement. And the bare butt girl he just slept with is Doug Tennapel doing bare butts, gang, and side boob, and cussing. So it looks like Eddie jumps just enough out of the way that she ends up kicking her own husband in the balls, and literally his balls come out of his mouth. Hilarious. And so as the story goes, he gets away. He peels out, throws a bunch of mud all over the girl he just slept with. What an ass! What an ass Eddie is. He comes down. He goes to the bad side of town here, and look at that. Look at all of the brushwork on that exterior of this black bar that he's about to go into. So he's going to do some. He's going to get a job from this gangster here, and the job is really simple. He wants him to go, and here they are, facing off, him and the gangster. Beautiful rendering by Doug. He's going to get a job, and that job is to show up at the big boss's house and steal. Look at that beautiful rendering again. Fantastic stuff that you'll never see mainstream comic book review channels touch, because they're afraid of the boogeyman, of the big boogeyman, being canceled by the comic book literati, the same comic book literati that bullied and harassed Ed Piskor to death. Well, you ain't going to bully and harass me to death, and if you do, well, then I guess somebody else will come and take my place, and you'll have another new comics review channel to deal with. But for now, you're stuck with me, and I'm doing books that the mainstream refuses to acknowledge exists. And I don't care about Doug's politics, and I don't care about who Doug votes for, and I don't care about Doug's social values. I care about the fantastic storytelling that he does, and that's the kind of thing that that's the frustrating part about living in like a post-capitalist society, a Western civilization on the verge of collapse, is that the modern audience puts no value on merit, no value on expert, masterful storytelling. There's such an abundance of media and content to consume. The consumer is completely overloaded with choice. And because they have nothing but infinite choice, they choose to filter based on ideology, not based on merit. So the audience isn't concerned about having being told the best stories possible by masterful storytellers like Doug Tennapel. They are first and foremost worried about filtering for their pet ideology or activism. And once these check boxes are out of the way, is it gay? Is it female? Is it black? Is it trans? Once those boxes are all checked, then they can golf clap the fact that the product exists at all. Oh my God, you black trans woman, you made a comic book. Fantastic. Push her to the front of the line. These little indie comics conventions, the micro conventions, like the ones they do in St. Louis, and I think Cake is the one they do in Chicago. They even tell you when you apply for a table that, like, whoa, before you apply for a table at this con, we need you to know that blacks and women and gays are going to be at the front of the line, and they're going to get their pick of the tables before any of you white males get an opportunity. And it's that kind of nonsense that's like dragged the art form and dragged. That's why, you see on this channel and other comics reviews channels, and even like Cartoonist Kayfabe, that was also full of, Jim and Ed. They were absolutely leftists, or at least they played the leftist game. They didn't cover stuff like this. There are zero Doug Tennapel videos on Cartoonist Kayfabe. There's zero Ethan Van Sciver videos on Cartoonist Kayfabe. And guys, some of the other guys that I cover, like Josh Howard, guys like Jason Brubaker, they don't get covered. They didn't even get covered on Cartoonist Kayfabe because they weren't these artists, these comic creators, these comics men. They don't fall into the right tribe. They don't fall into the right check boxes. And that's dragged the art form down to the point that even channels like Cartoonist Kayfabe, they don't review anything after like the fucking early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. It's like cut off, and suddenly there's no comics being reviewed, because after I say around 2012 to 2014 is when this like DEI shit really hit. Not just comics, but comics. It hit when I was in the Bizarro fiction community, the horror fiction small press communities in the early 2010s. I watched it all happen. I mean, if you can look me up on Google and search for the Bizarro Wars and see how that community collapsed in on itself, trying to create the small press literary communities were like 99% white male, and they tried to force diversity into it and collapsed the whole fucking thing, and it doesn't exist anymore. Those small press, that small press horror and small press Bizarro don't even exist anymore. And then slowly that started. I think they were like, the Bizarros were like the canary in the coal mine. It like really started happening there first, and in literature in general, you had the Nebula Award and all the shit surrounding that. The Sad Puppies. You had the World Fantasy Award that had the H.P. Lovecraft bust. They had to get rid of H.P. Lovecraft because he was a problematic white male. This was all happening in like 2014, 2015. And then it went to a crescendo in 2016. And by 2016, that's when you had your Eric Larsons and your Dan Slotts and your Don Simpsons and all of your comics people. That's when the infamous milkshake thing happened. That's when Ethan Van Sciver became persona non grata. That's when your boy Zach, Richard Meyer, your boy Zach became persona non grata. As 2016 crescendo, Trump got elected. And there's really been nothing of value from the left in the entertainment field. And you see currently, it finally made its way into movies and video games. And you see movies and video games collapsing right now. Comics collapsed somewhere around 2016. And that's why you don't see even like channels like cartoons, like especially channels like fucking lefty lunatic comics tropes. He stopped covering anything good around that time, and even Cartoonist Kayfabe. They don't have anything past 2016 because there's nothing good past 2016, with rare exceptions. You jump in the comments and roast me if there's modern classics that the comic review channels have covered. But for my money, the 2012 and before are where you find the classics in the comic book community, and that's why especially in the 90s is where you see, like, especially the focus on this channel, on my stuff. It's going to be 90s, late 80s through the 90s and into the early 2000s, because this was merit-based storytelling, and masters of the art form were telling the best stories. That ain't the case anymore. So Eddie here, excuse the rant, gang. Eddie here has broken into his boss's compound to because he needs to make some quick cash, and one of the underlings said he needed Eddie to grab something from the compound, and it's this bag in the freezer, and he's got one rule: don't unzip the bag. And so he steals it, he gets out, he gets away, gets his car out, rips out into the street. Fantastic Doug complains about not being able to draw cars, but he does these great sequences with vehicles. I mean, he's underestimates his ability to create motion, really frenetic motion with vehicles and car chases and stuff. And so he ends up finding that he's got an alien in his house. And then he gets a knock on the door, and it's his old priest. Eddie was raised in a monastery, and this priest comes back, and the priest has this girl with him, and Eddie recognizes, hey, this is Black Cherry. She's just dyed her hair, and he's like trying to hint to her throughout here that he knows her, and she's not taking the bait, and so Eddie's got to return this alien body back to his boss before he gets the underlings killed. But the priest is going, no, we actually know this guy. His name's Harold Mars, and he's been living at the monastery. They kidnapped him from the monastery. So the alien has been living at the monastery and learning religion from the priest and Black Cherry, who's disguised as a different girl. And so the shit goes down, the boss loses the body, and the boss's boss shows up. The boss's boss is a demon named Tail. And so the boss here goes, Tail, it's an honor to have you with us. I have to apologize for you fucked up, Don Morrow. I'm sorry. And then this Tail demon just takes out his bodyguards. Takes out the bodyguards. And keep your apology. I'm taking over this operation. Let's face it, if you are really worth anything to Sicily, you'd be a Don back east, not in Los Angeles. And he starts putting his hand into Don Morrow's brain. No, stay out of my head. Being the Don of L.A. Mafia is a lot like being the smartest man in Turlock. Please, no. I believe in the Holy Catholic Church. So do I. You can't have me. Contrarily, I had my dick in your hairy Sicilian ass before the foundations of the earth were laid. And then he takes over, Tail takes over Don Morrow's body. Now we will possess every consigliere, capo bastone. I want the contabile. And he puts his essence, his demonic essence, into all of Don Morrow's hitmen. And this is one of my favorite pages in the book, is these silently flying gangster thugs, leaving the compound, now demon possessed, to track down Harold Mars, the alien. And this book goes hard. This book goes hard as fuck. I love it. I love these deep black pages. Like I said, this is like Doug Tennapel's like send up to Sin City. This is his, I think, one of his masterpiece books. The one and only adult book by Doug Tennapel. It's something real special, and the art is just gorgeous. And you guys should check it out. And I can't recommend a book higher than I recommend this book, but you're going to have to buy it, track it down, and buy it yourselves if you want to learn the whole story. I ain't giving it all away here for free on the channel, gang, but that's going to do it for today's episode. Remember, if you've got comics burning up your collection that you want to get rid of, or books that you want to see covered here on the channel that you haven't seen me talk about before, send them on to Kevin Strange, P.O. Box number 5, Cottage Hills, Illinois, 62018. If you are a comics creator and you want to see your books covered here on the channel, Kevin Strange, P.O. Box number 5, Cottage Hills, Illinois, 62018. And with that, gang, I hope we see you at the dollar bin, and remember to keep on digging.